Okay, welcome everyone. As we are sponsored in our tour through Zevachim by Baruch Ian. It's good to have you back, Baruch. We've been missing you. Nishmas Yaakov Chaim ben Abba, Esther Bas Yona, Avram ben Shmuel HaKohen, Lefu Shalema, Feliba Bas Anya, by Shalom Fogel, Nishmas Yaakov Zeb ben Yehuda Aryeh, Rivka Bas Yaakov Yosef, Tzivya Miriam Bas Gad, Yosef ben Tzim ben Yaakov Zev, Lefu Shalema for Moshe Aryeh ben Binyamin, and for a great shidduch for Chaya Tzivya Bas Shoshana Gittel. We also are sponsored by A.B. Spry. We're sponsored for the physical, emotional, and spiritual protection for Yeshua Menachem Mendel, Ben Bela Shendel Rivka. We're sponsored by Mark Frankel, in loving memory of his father, Yisrael Tzvi Ben Chaim Yeshua Falik, and by Berish Gesem and Lefush Lema for Shoshana Basadina Chana. We want to have in mind our Chaver Adaf, Aaron Ben Sarah, and the Chaver Adaf, Nachman Yaakov Ben Sarah. They should have a refuah shalema b'serach she'achayla Yisrael.
Mordechai Tzvi ben Roshchana.
Mordechai Tzvi ben Roshchana.
And Chai Freda Bas Rachel Rivka.
Chai Freda Bas Rachel Rivka. They should have a refuah shalema b'serach she'achayla Yisrael. Zlata Bas Esther Perl should have a refuah shalema b'serach she'achayla Yisrael. We are starting on the bottom of Ayin Aleph Amud Beis, 2 lines from the bottom. Ayin Aleph Amud Beis, 71b, 2 lines from the bottom. So our Mishnah said that if a shara nishchat, a shah that gored someone in front of 2 witnesses and had to be killed, got mixed up with a whole bunch of karbanas, they will all have to die. So the Gemara says that is also unnecessary to teach. That concept was already taught to us in Masechtas Avodah Zarah. Says the Gemara, the hedyot, a flaw of a common variety, not a kachim flaw, also namitanole was also already covered. It says in Masechtas Avodah Zarah, ve'elu asurin, the following are asur va'oisrin b'kol shein, and caused their mixture to be forbidden even with the smallest amount. Yayin esach. So if a little bit of yayin esach gets mixed up with a lot of wine, it causes it to be asur. V'avodas kechavim. If, let's say, a image of idolatry gets mixed up with a lot of other images, they all become forbidden. So we already see this concept. Why do we have to learn it in our Mishnah now?
Why is this with idols? They're all no good.
No, they're not good. There could be a bust of Napoleon. There's nothing wrong with a bust of Napoleon. But there was one that they worshipped. So it says the Gemara, as we start the top of Ayin Beis Amud Aleph, and even clowns are welcome to this share.
Thank you. I'm here.
So says the Gemara. 1 second. It is Moshe Aryeh ben Miriam. That's what I said. Yeah. Says the Gemara, Tzriche. We need to teach our din with a shara nechshat gets mixed up, shara niskel gets mixed up with karbanas, and the din in Avodah Zarah where yayin nesach gets mixed up with other wine. Why do we need both of them? The ima hasam, if we would have taught, welcome, it's good to have you. Top of Daf Ayin Beis Amud Aleph. Wow, if Danny would be here, we would have a minyan. Danny, unfortunately, I think took a flight to California this morning because his mother is very ill. So So he went to see his mother. Hashem should give her Rachmei Shemayim. So the Gemara says, Tzrichei, we need to teach it. The Ima Hasam, because if it would say just the case of the yayin, Nesach getting mixed with other wine, Havamina Lehedyet, I would say that it asers other wine because we're not wasting kachin. Aval Ligvaya, but if a Shar Niskel gets mixed up with other shvarim of karbanis, there you would have to waste karbanis, holy items. Maybe we should say we should rely on bittul b'raiv, and we shouldn't waste all of it. And if it says only our case, I might say just the opposite. Hamamina hanimili kachim. If kachim get mixed up with a shor that gored someone, shor that gored someone, that's mois to put that on the mizbeach. The mois. Aval chulin delay mois. It's not going on the altar, so we can't say that it's a problem of it being mias. The ema. Isur hana, the Isur hana, the Yayin Nesach or the Avodah Zarah should be lifted by beruba, should be neutralized by raiv, so tzricha. So the Gemara says, well, taka, if one Shar Niskel gets mixed up with 1,000 karbanas, why don't we say batal b'raiv? Says the Gemara, niftalu beruba. So you'll say, well, we have a klal that a davar choshev you can't neutralize. Now the idea of choshev is that something that's sold by unit, individually, has its own identity and can't be neutralized. But there's a big machlokes. There is an opinion that you can't neutralize if it's only sold by unit, or if it's most of the time sold by unit. Now the thing is, animals normally are taka sold by the animal, by unit. But when a big gevir, a big cheese, like let's take a big cheese like Ruvain Pollock. He's a big cheese. He doesn't buy one animal. He buys a herd. Right? He goes in and he says, I'll have a herd of sheep and I'll have a herd of goats. So sometimes it's not sold by unit. So if you hold that it could only not be neutralized if it's es shedar limanos, if it's only sold by unit, that's not true by an animal. And that's what the Gemara now says. That we'll see that there's an opinion that if most of the time it's sold by unit, that's enough that it can't be neutralized, then that's why we can't neutralize the ox that is supposed to be stoned. But according to Mandiyama, that says that you could only neutralize it if it's only sold by unit. An animal is not only sold by unit. And when Berish goes in, he says, I'll take 6 of the horse, give me good ones, and I'll take 7 of the. Even that would maybe be considered sold by unit, but he might say, I just want that bunch over there and that bunch over there. Then it should be able to be neutralized. Where do we have this machlokes? The Tanan, if let's say Marshall, who does these things, you're not allowed to mix other growths with the vineyard. If you do, it becomes kloya kerem, a forbidden mixture of the vineyard. And the pasuk says, tukdash, which means tu kadesh. It has to be burnt with fire. Now Marshall planted kloya kerem, and what he did was tilson is a very, very choshev spice. It's called fenugreek. And Rashi says it's choshev because piryoy ve'etzai shavin, the time of the fruit and its wood are the same. Very, very, very choshev. So he had tilson that he planted together with a vine. So that bundle of tilson is very forbidden. It has to be burnt. But before Marshall could get around to burning it, because he had a hockey game that night, the din is yidolku. It has to be burnt. But nisarvu b'acherim, if that bundle gets mixed up with other permitted bundles, b'acherim, and the other ones get mixed up with the other ones, kulon yidolku. You gotta burn the whole thing. In other words, it asas b'mashim. Divrei Rameir. That's the opinion of Rameir. The Chacham say, if it's kloya kerem, it could be neutralized 200 to 1. The Chachamim Aimrim, yalu be'echad u'masayim. Shahir Rameir says, kol shedarke limonais mikadesh. That anything that sometimes you sell by unit, it cannot be neutralized. The Chachamim Aimrim, eina mikadesh, the only things that can't be neutralized, elashisha devarim bilvad. Only 6 things. 6 things are so chashiv that they can't be neutralized. Rabbi Kiva Shiva. Rabbi Kiva says 7. The Elohei. Now you're gonna really learn about really chashiv items. Egoizei perich. The walnuts of perich. Now this is not just walnuts. This is what today they sell for an astronomical amount of money what they call Dubai chocolate. One little bar of Dubai chocolate they're selling for $14. Dubai chocolate. Mashagas. Right? So these are egoizei perech. The walnuts of perech, they are so chashiv that it can't be neutralized. Virimone Badan, the pomegranates of Baden, that's like a caviar, the pomegranates of Baden. Chavios dumais, sealed casks of wine. You see, sealed cask of wine is a davar chashuv ad ma'id. Chilfei tradin, shoots of beets. Now you have to know that there are some people that say tradin is spinach. That's why if you buy those prepackaged minim for Rosh Hashanah, a lot of them have the tradin is spinach, and they have little package of spinach. Our Kabbalah has always been that when the Gemara says tradin, it's beets. Beets are incredibly healthy food. The naturalists these days say you go by the color. And indeed, there's sources in Chazal that beets are very healthy for the heart. Very healthy for the heart. But in general, the Gemara says beets are very healthy. Vikilche kruv, and cabbage stalks. Now, kruv, isn't it interesting? Kruv, chaf reish vav vez, is the same letters as baruch. Because cabbage is a blessed food. I knew Rabbi Dr. Tendler, Moshe's son-in-law, and besides being a huge Talmid Chacham and a Rav, he was also an eminent chemist. and he used to experiment extensively with all kinds of mice with cancer. And he told me that one of the healthiest foods on the planet is cabbage stalks. Says he injected mice with diseases with cabbage, and he got rid of diseases. He did tell me what he considers the healthiest food on the planet. He said the healthiest food on the planet is broccoli sprouts. As a matter of fact, when my wife was ill, he told me, listen to me, every day buy the seeds, put it on a wet paper towel, and make your own sprouts. And I would make for her regularly sprouts and give it to her. He said that he got rid of all kinds of diseases with broccoli sprouts. But cabbage sprouts, he told me, is not far beyond. So the cabbage sprouts is a davar choshev ma'od. Udlas yavanis.
Not stuffed cabbage?
So the thing is the cooking of it might take away some of the features. But you know, our bubbas were onto something. It wasn't just the
Side effects chase all the diseases away.
I'm
sorry,
sprouts. Well, he was talking about sprouts, but stalks are also good. But here it doesn't mean sprouts; it means stalks. And then Delas Yavonis, Greek gourds. Now, it's interesting, again, if you look at the word Delas, if you're interested in etymology, if you look at the word Delas, it's the same letters as Lidas, for knowledge. Isn't that interesting? They talk about food that's good for the brain. Right? So Delas is the same letters as Lidas. So Delas Yavonis. These are so choshev that they're sold by piece, they can't be neutralized. Rabbi Akiva Maisif Afki Karashel Balabais. Rabbi Akiva adds also homemade challah. Not challah by the baker, but homemade challah. Now these are neutralized. Now obviously a homemade challah is not going to be arla because it doesn't grow from a tree. Right? The Rimone Badan is going to be arla if it's first 3 years. So es haroila arla. These species that apply to arla, like the egoize perech, the Rimone Badan, the wine, haroila kloya kerem, that which would be involved kloya kerem, like the loaves of balbais could be wheat that was planted with the vine, the kloya kerem. Now, the Imar Allah, there's a machlokes why these 6 or 7 cannot be neutralized. Rabbi Yochanan Amar Eshe Darkei Limana Shaninu. Rabbi Yochanan says it's because it is only sold by unit. It's never sold in a pound. It's only sold by unit. I'll have 3 Baden pomegranates. I'll have 6 squares of Dubai chocolate. It's never sold by the pound. It means what is most of the time sold by unit. So Hanichel Reish Lakish, it's good according to Reish Lakish, because according to Reish Lakish, most of the time an animal is sold by separate animal. I'll have 1 animal, I'll have 2 animals. So that's why it can't be neutralized. The Shar Niskel cannot be neutralized. El Rabbi Yochanan, that it's only if it's only sold by a unit. Now animals sometimes sold by the herd. Ma'ikalamema. So now Rav Papa, and although we really could stop over here, but if I stop over here, your wives will say that they're not expecting you home yet. They'll be in shock. So,
Play two.
huh?
Let's play two.
We want to welcome in A.B. Spry and Shimon Klein, Saba, Baruch Ian, who we've been missing, Yisrael Fisher, Marshall Castle, who we've also been missing, Shalom Fogel, Menachem Umansky, Yaakov Warman, Irving Fishbaum, Barry Cement, Reuven Pollack, Rabbi Kranz, Nachman Chapler, Mo Kushner, Michal, Rebel Yayafi, Dr. Guy, Eddie Chazan, Avigdor Fried, Moshe Lehman, Avram Rezepkowitz, Naftali Jablin, Ilya Shutman, Eba Arbach, Shelley Zeitlin, David Helfgat. Here in Shul, we have Berish Gesseman, Gedalia Engel, Chaim Kramer, Michal Avram Chavin, and a very special warm welcome to a new Talmud, Eddie Antebi, and Reb Kraus, Yehuda Solomon, Ruvain Shanit. Only 9, right? We have. Yeah, only
Would you
9.
say that an esrog would fall under this category?
No, because during the year you're going to buy a bunch of esrogim. It's only on.
It was only part of the year.
Right, that's correct. So set.
Why doesn't?
Oh, we're going to talk about that. Amar Rav Papa. So Rav Papa says, "Hi Tana, our Mishnah that says that you can't neutralize the Shara Niskel is Tana de litra ketziyasu. It's a Tana of a liter of figs." It's interesting that the Artzko brings down from Bechairis, from Rashi and Bechairis, that a litra is the weight of a mana, of 100 dinner. There's a big argument about that, but that's what Rashi says in Bechairis. So it's the Tana of a litra of ketziyas. Ketziyas are dried out figs. The Amar kol davar sheyesh by minyan, anything that has just a chance of being sold separately, afilu b'drabanan loy batal, even if it's only an issa d'rabanan, because here we're going to be talking about truma of figs. Now, truma of figs is only d'rabanan. D'raisa, truma is only degancha, siroishcha, v'yitzarecha, grain, wine, oil. So this is even in Eretz Yisrael, it's only d'Rabbanan, but even d'Rabbanan loy batal v'kol shechein b'doraisa. And surely, if it's biblical, like over here where it's a Shara Niskel, it's biblically forbidden. The Tanya. So here it's a very interesting case. We need a scoundrel for this. Wow, it's interesting. Eddie is not here tonight. Oh, he is. Okay. I don't know. I don't know if I missed you the first time when I was calling out, but Eddie is a perfect scoundrel. Eddie is still in Arkansas.
Post Oklahoma.
You're in Oklahoma now.
Then that dude gets around.
Good, but Marshall, are you the only one on this shit that believes him?
Yeah. I'm not as full of what he's full of.
Isn't it interesting? He just was in Memphis, Arkansas, and now Oklahoma. Okay.
Rode his bicycle to all those places.
Okay. So anyway, Eddie, if you would be a salesman for this daf, it would be a wonderful thing. Every place that you go, get one person to come on the Zoom.
I think he must be the CIA.
Avigdor, it's a little bit more like the CIA is after him, but that's something else.
Almost as much as an OU mashgiach.
Yeah. But the benefit of traveling to a place where people are not used to seeing a from a yid and making an impact. Rav Moshe made one trip to Memphis, and they said his trip to Memphis made such an impact that people became from being exposed to Rav Moshe one time. That's wherever we go, we have to try to make an impact.
Leave Marshall at home, please. You don't first. Marshall, stay home.
I've told this story before, so Berish will probably say he heard it already. I don't know. I once went on a speaking circuit, and it was a very memorable occasion. Yes, Shelley, you were, I think, here. Shelley, do you remember that I gave a woman share and a cat jumped on the table and walked over all the food, or you don't remember that? No, you don't remember.
Must have been a joke.
I gave a very big women's share in Newport, and the woman who was a Talmida of mine prepared a magnificent spread, She spent a lot of money on the spread, all kinds of salads and salmon salad and it was really magnificent. Unfortunately, she had a cat, and the cat jumped on the table and stepped over all the plates. She wasn't in the room when it happened. Nobody would eat anything. She was mortified, and nobody felt they could tell her, because she would say, "Oh, my cat is clean." So that was the first thing that made it unforgettable. You heard this? Oh, you did hear it. It's embarrassing. You've been around, you know. So at the shir, before I started, a woman got up and asked that she wanted to say a few words. Now, you come to a strange place, and a strange woman gets up and wants to say a few words. You don't know what she's going to say. I was very uncomfortable, but what am I going to do? Tell her no? Also, she was I don't gape at women, but she was a ravishingly beautiful woman. And what is she going to say? She turns to me and says to me, "Rabbi Weiss, you don't remember me." I said, "Oh boy, what's going on over here?" I said,
I for sure was not there.
I said.
No, you would have picked her up, right?
I would remember.
Sometimes it becomes a cat, but then it becomes people.
I said.
That's the frog.
Okay, Rabbi say. So I said no. She said, I didn't think so. She said, 11 years ago, I went to a Pesach program by Mel Schick and Katz together with you. And I was in a very low time in my life, and I had already decided that I wanted to get divorced. But I didn't want to ruin it for my family. They wanted to go away for Pesach. So I went away for Pesach. You gave a 3-part series on Shalom Bayis. So I said to myself, what am I crazy? I'm planning to get divorced. She said, but she heard from people that I was funny. So she decided to go. I had no idea about this. She said to me, after your 3 lectures, I had an epiphany that I'm really not a good wife. And instead of getting a divorce, I tried to do things differently. It's now 2 children later. and I'm happily married, and I always wanted to say thank you to you, so I'm now publicly saying thank you to you. That story caused me more than anything else to go around places and speak. Because you never know where you're going to impact someone. So Eddie, you have the opportunity to be in different places as a Fruma Yid. Use it. It's
Just don't speak.
I make sure to bring along the cat.
Happens to the food.
okay. So anyway,
The
Let's
food.
do the second daf today. It's another short.
Anyway, I'm gotta mute everybody. People are making too much noise tonight. Now, so the Gemara says, the Tanya, Litra Katsiris, a leader of these figs, they used to press them into a mold. That's how we learn in Elamitzias, Igule Devela, a cake of figs. They used to press them in a mold. Shedorsa al pi igul. Now there was one litra of truma figs that they pressed on the top of one of the molds. But they didn't forgot which mold. There were a bunch of molds, and they forgot which mold. Ve'eni yoidea be'eza igul dorsa, or al pi chavyus. They pressed it on the top of a cask. Ve'eni yoidea be'eza chavyus dorsa, and you don't know which cask. Al pi koiveris, they used to have hives that they used for honey, but sometimes they used it for other things. And they pressed it on the top of one of these hives. There were a bunch of hives with figs. Reb Meir says, Reb Eliezer says, you know what we do? We don't view them to have the status of the top layer, even though it was a top layer. But Rabbi Eliezer says, since it's the Rabbanan, we could view the cask that has it, or the mold that has it, as if it's mixed thoroughly inside. Rabbi Eliezer, we could view the upper one as if it has become separated and mixed with the rest of the cask. And then we could, if there's 100-1, because Truma is neutralized 100-1, if there's 100-1 counting all the casks, all the contents of the casks, the lower part neutralizes the upper part, not just in that one cask, but now it's considered like it's mixed with the whole amount of figs. Rabbi Shua says, no, listen, you can't get away with the fact that it's the top layer. So if you have 100 casks of top layers, so then it's neutralized. If you have 100 hives of top, Rabbi Shua, miyesh mea pumim yalu, v'im lav, then apumim asurim, then the upper, the top layer, let's say you only have 50 casks, then the top layer of all the casks are asur, v'ashulayim, the lower layers are mutarim. Rabbi Yehuda says, Rabbi Eliezer, im yesham kuf pumim, if you have 100 tops, yalo, v'im lav, apumim asurim, if not, the upper layer is asur on all the casks, the lower one is mutter. Rabbi Yeshua says, afilu yesham shloisha me'et pumim, even if there's 300 casks, it's not mavatal. because since the liter of figs is sometimes sold by unit, sometimes it can't be neutralized. Lo yalu. And therefore, our Mishnah that says that the Shor HaNiskel, even though it's only sometimes sold by unit, sometimes it's sold by herd, can't be neutralized, and therefore that's why the mixture is aser. We're going to stop here, Rabbi Isai, and it really is a pleasure of having everybody here this evening. Again, we are Tuesday night now. One second, please. We're at Tuesday night now, and we still do not have a sponsor for the shir tomorrow night. So if anybody out there in the Torah anytime Kalalosh and Wild Blue Yonder wants to sponsor the shir.
Hello, you have a sponsor.
What?
I believe you have a sponsor.
Again?
Why not? It's my pleasure. Great opportunity.
All right, thank you, Avigdor.
He's got a bridge for you too, Victor.
Yeah. Mo, what did you want to ask me?
I saw something like that. I never saw. I wanted to know you can saw it. A one-day shiva. They reburied a body, and they made a one-day shiva.
That's correct.
You saw it.
That's the halacha. It's one day.
Thank you, Rabbi.
Yes. Have a good night, everyone.
I'm not going to be on tomorrow night. Give you a heads up.
I have a question.
Yes.
So when we say 100 to 1, is it 101?
Yes, 101. Great to have you. We hope we see you again. Okay, have a good night, everyone.